Hello friends and welcome to Parks Crafty Creations. I'm your host Brian Parks. So, let me know if this has ever happened to you. You're following a sewing pattern, everything's going great, and then it says, add interfacing. And suddenly, you're standing in the fabric store, staring at a wall of options like, what do I even choose? There's fusible, sew-in, woven, non-woven, knit, and somehow they all look the same. So, in today's video, I'm going to break it all down in a really simple way so you know exactly which interfacing to use and when. No more guessing. Before we jump in, if you enjoy this content, be sure to give us a like down below, as it really does help out the channel. Do it now please, and if you're new to our channel, don't forget to subscribe and ring that notification bell icon so you'll always be notified whenever a new video drops. And hey, if you love what we do here, don't forget to share us with your friends. Alright, so first, what even is interfacing? Interfacing is a material that you add to fabric to give it structure, support, and stability. So if you've ever had something feel a little too floppy, interfacing is usually the fix. You'll see it used in things like collars, waistbands, button plackets, cuffs, and even bags. For example, if I hold up this piece of fabric by itself, you can see it's really soft and kind of collapses in on itself. But if I add interfacing to it, suddenly it has shape. It holds its form a lot better. So interfacing isn't something you really see, but it makes a huge difference in how your finished project looks and feels. And this is one of those things that can really take a project from looking homemade to looking polished, professional, and exquisitely handmade. A lot of times, when something looks off in a finished piece, it might not be the sewing. It may actually be the lack of structure underneath. So even though interfacing feels like an extra step, it's one of those details that really elevates your work. Now, let's talk about the two main categories you'll run into: fusible and sew-in interfacing. Fusible interfacing is the one most beginners start with, and honestly, it's what I use most of the time too. It has a layer of adhesive on one side, so you attach it to your fabric using heat from an iron. If you look closely, one side will feel smooth, and the other side might have little dots or a slightly rough texture. That's the glue side. To apply it, you place the glue side down onto your fabric and press it with an iron. And I do mean press, not iron back and forth, because that can cause bubbling. And one thing I always recommend here is using a pressing cloth, especially if you're working with delicate fabrics. That just gives you a little extra protection and helps prevent any damage from direct heat. Also, pay attention to your iron settings. Different interfacing brands can require slightly different temperatures. So, if you have the packaging, it's always a good idea to check. And speaking of bubbling, that's one of the most common issues with fusible interfacing. If your iron isn't hot enough, or you don't hold it in place long enough, the interfacing might not fully adhere, and you'll get bubbles or areas that lift. And if that happens, don't panic. You can usually fix it by going back in with a little more heat and pressure. But it's definitely easier to get it right the first time than to fix it later. Now, on the other side, we have sew-in interfacing. This one doesn't have any adhesive at all. You attach it by sewing it into your project. It takes a little more time, but it gives you a lot more control. And it's great for fabrics that don't like heat, like silk or really anything delicate. You'll also see sew-in interfacing used a lot in more tailored garments, like jackets and coats, where you really want that structured, professional finish. So, if you ever get into more advanced garment sewing, this is something you'll probably come back to. So a quick rule of thumb here: if your fabric can handle heat, and you want something quick and easy, go with fusible. If your fabric is delicate, or you want a more traditional finish, sew-in might be the better choice. Okay, now this is where things can start to feel overwhelming, but I promise, we're going to keep it simple. There are three main types you'll see: woven, non-woven, and knit interfacing. Let's start with woven interfacing. This one is made just like regular fabric, so it actually has a grain, meaning it has a direction. Because of that, it behaves a lot like your fabric. It drapes nicely and moves with it, which makes it a great choice for garments. When you cut woven interfacing, you'll want to pay attention to the grain, just like you would with fabric. One thing I really like about woven interfacing is that it respects the behavior of your fabric. So if your fabric has a nice drape, the interfacing won't completely fight against that. It'll support it without taking over. That's why it's such a popular choice for things like collars and button plackets on shirts. Next is non-woven interfacing. This one doesn't have a grain at all. It's more like a paper or a felt-like material. It's really easy to use because you can cut it in any direction, and it's often what a lot of beginners start with. Non-woven interfacing is also really common in craft projects and beginner-friendly patterns. So if you've ever made something like a tote bag or a simple project and it just said interfacing without much detail, there's a good chance it was referring to non-woven. And then we have knit interfacing. This one stretches, which makes it perfect for knit fabrics like t-shirts or anything really with stretch. If you use a non-stretchy interfacing on a stretchy fabric, it can restrict movement and cause weird puckering. So this one's really important when you're working with knits. And this is one that people sometimes skip, but it really makes a difference. If you've ever had a neckline stretch out or lose its shape over time, using the right interfacing can help prevent that. So it's not just about structure, it's also about helping your garment to keep its shape after you wear it and wash it. So here's a simple way to remember all of this. If it stretches, it's knit. If it tears easily, it's non-woven. And if it behaves like fabric, it's woven. Now, let's talk about weight, because this is just as important as the type. Interfacing comes in different weights: light, medium, and heavy. And what you want to do is match the weight of your interfacing to the weight of your fabric. So for really lightweight fabrics like chiffon or silk, you'll want a lightweight interfacing so you don't overpower the fabric. For something like quilting cotton or everyday garments, medium weight usually works great. And for heavier projects like bags or anything that needs real structure, that's when you go for a heavier interfacing. If you go too heavy, your fabric can end up feeling stiff and unnatural. If you go too light, it won't really do anything. So matching the weight is key. And if you're not sure which weight to use, this is where testing really comes in. Take a scrap of your fabric, try a couple of different interfacing weights, and just see how it feels in your hands. Does it still move the way you want it to? Does it feel too stiff? Does it feel like it's not doing enough? That little bit of testing can save you a lot of frustration later on. Alright, so now that we've covered everything, let's simplify it into one easy formula. When you're choosing interfacing, you want to match your fabric type, your fabric weight, and whether or not it stretches. So, for example, if you're making a cotton shirt, you might choose a medium weight woven fusible interfacing. If you're working with a knit top, you'll want a knit interfacing so it can stretch with the fabric. And if you're making a bag, you might go with a heavier interfacing to give it structure. And over time, this starts to become more intuitive. You'll start to feel your fabric and kind of know what it needs. But in the beginning, just slowing down and thinking things through, those three things will get you there every time. If you remember nothing else from this video, just remember to match those three things and you'll be in really good shape. Before we wrap up, let's quickly go over a few common mistakes. One is choosing the wrong weight, either too heavy or too light. Another is skipping testing. I know it's tempting to skip that step, especially if you're excited to get started, but it really does make a difference. Even fabrics that look similar can behave differently once interfacing is applied. Also, ironing instead of pressing. Remember, you want to hold your iron in place, not move it around. And as a bonus tip on this, if you're attaching a larger piece of interfacing, I recommend starting at the center of your piece and working your way out towards the edges. And finally, skipping interfacing altogether. I'll be honest, I've definitely skipped interfacing before thinking it wouldn't really matter, and then regretted it later. So if a pattern calls for it, there's usually a very good reason. Interfacing can definitely feel confusing at first, but once you understand the basics, it becomes so much easier to choose the right one for your projects. And if you're at the fabric store and you're stuck, feel free to come back to this video as a quick reference. That's exactly what it's here for. If you have questions, or if there's a specific project you're working on and you're not sure what to use, let me know in the comments. I'd love to help. And don't forget, if you found this video helpful, make sure to give this video a thumbs up down below. And if you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe and ring that notification bell icon so you'll never miss out whenever a new video drops. Thanks for joining me today. I've been Brian Parks for Parks Crafty Creations. Happy sewing, and we'll see you next time.